Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro. You're back here with your host Donald Wonder, and we're going to do another documentary of the month. And this time we're going to be talking about a documentary that it deals with a topic that's actually close to my heart in a sense. As a media junkie, as a television junkie, the title and the content of this documentary in particular spoke to me, but I've put this off for a while because honestly I never really wanted to see behind the curtain. And I found a lot of the details of this confusing, but let's get into it first of all. The title, as you can see on the screen, is called Showrunners, The Art of Running a TV Show. Now, this has got to do with the person who has the helm. When you're watching a TV show, there's one person who kind of is, you know, the maestro, the thorough line that ties everything together. Now, I'm not an expert, or I'm not even in the movie television industry. I talked to some people in it through my reviews, and I've actually met a few people just by coincidence, but I didn't really understand the inner workings. I always thought the directors and the producers were the top level guys, but no, the showrunners actually are. And just that name, showrunner, it doesn't sound like a title of a person who has a lot of power in the industry. So I did hear the term showrunner throughout the years, but I never thought they were the maestro, the showrunner being the maestro. And this documentary educates you as an audience member on all the inner workings and what it actually takes to make a show. And you know, when I first saw the trailer for this documentary, I thought this is going to be pretty boring. I mean, there's going to be a lot of meetings and stuff, but you know, I'm a TV junkie and I love great storytelling. And when you hear about, a series has been cancelled or a series hasn't got good ratings and this, that and the other, as a viewer, I'm always blaming the studio or the network. But the truth is, there's so many moving parts in the industry that this documentary shows you how these things come about, what they're doing. And I would have thought it was boring, but to be honest with you, it was really interesting seeing this. And if you guys might think this is boring, you're going to see a lot of TV directors in. I mean, this documentary, if I didn't say it before, it took about 4 years to make, because they worked with, to put this together, they worked with about 10 or 12 different directors of the most popular TV shows like J.J. Abrams, Joss Whedon, guys who made shows like Person of Interest, Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad, Boardwalk Empire, Game of Thrones. The list goes on and on and on. You get a nice plethora of TV shows that I can guarantee you've known or you've heard of, and you get to see these guys talk about the process of making these shows. Now, again, I always thought to myself, I don't really care about just give me my show. I don't really care about these guys. Just make my show and, you know, fuck these guys, whatever. But after hearing these guys talk about making a show, it really was enlightening. And man, the reviews on this are good. It's just because these people have to deal with so much shit. The showrunners are controlling the producers and the directors and the actors, and there's so many moving parts. And again, as a viewer, you might be very simple-minded to think, you know, the stories are shit, or, you know, this season was filler. But there's reasons for that. Budgetary reasons, people not agreeing, contractual reasons, arguments with the studio. And this documentary does a good job of showing you, well, you sit in on meetings with these people talking about the show, and when they do, you kind of realize that this isn't magic, this is business. And the story that you're given, if I wrote a book, if I wrote a story, that's not what's being produced into a television show. The scripts and the actual stories, if they're written from books, or if they're written from long decades of text that someone's been writing forever, that doesn't translate into a TV show. And the one thing I really liked about this show is it's not about the successes. This documentary is about, a lot of it is about the failures and the stresses and how a lot of these things don't get done. There's 4 or 5 shows in here, they show you how they got cancelled, and the people behind it, they explain what happened. And you know, a lot of it is, some of it is studio interference, some of it is on their part, they made mistakes, but they give you a nice inflection of, you know, I was young, or I made this mistake, or it was too much for me, or it's just not easy. And you know, I did enjoy this documentary, but on the other hand, it was too real for me. I was watching this like, I'd never really wanted to see this. And the more you watch TV shows, after you watch 100 shows, like I've watched probably 300 TV shows over my 33 years or whatever, you know, you start to see the cracks. You start to read behind the scenes, and you start to want to be in. You want to be interested in these kind of things. And watching this documentary and hearing the directors, especially Joss Whedon and J.J. Abrams, talk about, you know, the things that go wrong or how they were feeling, or how, you know, in the meeting, how they have to change things up, or how they have to adjust a series depending on public perception or the ratings and stuff like that. It was somewhat depressing, but somewhat enlightening. But then again, it just made me realize that, you know, like I said, I've met some of these people. I've spoken to some of them when I did reviews, or when I met them in the Comic-Con in real life. And man, it's real life. I mean, these fictional stories that we love so much, there's people behind it. And a lot of the times, it's just not magic. These stories are fictional, but how it comes to be on television is very, very unpleasant. I mean, it's very unpleasant, it's very boring, it's very arduous, and I commend these guys. I mean, I would, you know, after watching this documentary, to be honest with you, I would never want to work as a Hollywood writer or director. I don't know, man, it just seems so, well, it can be a very thankless endeavor if your show's a failure and your career's ruined and you can't get another job. But then again, if you make it really big, and as these guys know right now, television is the new cinema. You know, this is cinematic television. These television shows are like long-going novels. People love TV right now because of the production style is increased. The storytelling is so diverse and energetic and dynamic. So television is the place to be. And that's one of the reasons why I knew I had to watch a documentary, because I wanted to see, you know, we're not in the days of the 50s or the 60s or the 70s. There's so much change with racial diversity, with so many people being injected into every single level of the directorial phase. You still got Netflix shows and cable shows, and, you know, I'm going to give this documentary a solid B. Now, I'm going to say this, I don't think this documentary is for everyone. You're going to watch a trailer and you might think, oh, this is kind of boring, why do I care? But you know what? A lot of the people that made your favorite shows talk about how they made these shows. And again, this is a look behind the curtain that I found enlightening, disheartening, and educational. You know, again, as you get older, as you watch all these shows, you actually appreciate the finer details of every level of the filming process for television and movies, from the actors, directors, producers, the showrunners. And again, the showrunner, that title is not one I really was aware of or really even cared about. But now, you know, we want to give respect to where respect is due. And if you're a TV junkie like myself, I would say check this one out. You might not like the whole thing, but I think you'll find some of the points interesting. And I felt like I kind of owed it to the industry to see all these people that are unsung heroes, you know, the guys that you never hear about, they never get any credit. Guys, when you finish a TV show, how many people watch the credits and look at the assistant PD, the assistant director, the assistant runner? Nobody gives a shit. So I felt like I was doing my part by watching this documentary, and it was fine, it was adequate, but it's not for everyone. Again, I would give it a solid B. It's fine, it's okay, it's enlightening, and it's good for TV. And I'm sure down the line, I foresee them being a new one in another 10 or 15 years, because things are changing so much in the TV landscape that it's only, this will be a great marking point to see the differences between here and now. Because even now with YouTube and all these, they don't get too much in the streaming services, I have to say, because that's a whole different ball game. They don't have to answer, they don't have to cater to so many talking heads. And even they mentioned that in this documentary, they mentioned that HBO is kind of a different animal than, you know, ABC or NBC or FX or Fox. You know, there's so many different layers of bureaucracy that, again, I know some people are going to think I'm bored by this doesn't interest me. But again, guys, if you're a TV buff, I'll say give this one a check. So yeah, that was the documentary for this month. If you've seen this one, let me know what you think in the comments down below. We're going to kind of do more recent documentaries, because I find documentaries within the last 5 years plus are a lot more dynamic and a lot more easier to talk about. And to be honest with you, it's a lot more easier for you guys to find, because a lot of the older documentaries are kind of harder to find. So I'm going to try to stick to newer documentaries so you guys can, you know, join in the conversation, watch it, and let me know what you think. As I said, check out the comments down below. Also, don't forget the annotation on the screen. YouTube knows what you like and are recommending you some good shit right now. Subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and until then, I want to say see you on the next video, guys. Take care. Peace out.